share with you my experience with seed saving of tomato seeds. I've never done it before. I've done it with other seeds through the years, sometimes by accident, sometimes by trial. I did do some green beans last summer and done them before, and it works really well. You get really great healthy plants. But this year I thought, I didn't really have a big garden because of our move. I just had some grow pots, and I grew some tomatoes. And here is an example of the little gold tomatoes that I grew this year. So I thought it would be fun to try to seed save tomatoes. I watched some videos on how to do it, and I thought, well, I grew these tomatoes, so let's see if it would work. So I did one round of aroma tomato and the gold tomato, and what you do is you just take the seeds, they're covered in a little gel coating, and you put them in a little bit of water, not very much, and then you just put them on your counter and you let them sit. Basically, I guess they're like fermenting, and they'll get a little bit cloudy in there. Apparently it can grow a little bit of fuzz, and then after about 3, 4, 5 days, as you monitor them, you decide when they're ready to take out and dry. So I did a first round, worked fine, dumped them out in a little sieve, worked the water out, made sure all the gel coat was off of them, dried them, and I put them in my little packets ready for next year, Roma and gold tomato seeds. I don't know if you can see that, they're really tiny. So then I thought, oh, I'll do it again. I had some more tomatoes that I had harvested. So this time I only had gold. So one day I harvested and I had 4 good, what looked like good seeds, put them in one jar. And then the next day I had another tomato that I used, a few of them, and I did another jar. So they were only one day apart. Put them on my kitchen counter on the windowsill and kept watching them. And then on the 4th day, which is when I harvested and took these out, it was time to do these. And so this time when I did it, I opened up the jar, and the 4 in the one jar had sprouted. So I already had roots on 4 of the seeds, and the jar I did the day before were perfectly fine, like the ones I had done the couple weeks prior. So I did my process and cleaned them off and got them drying, but I didn't know, gosh, what to do with these 4 that had sprouted. I didn't want to just throw them away, and I couldn't dry them because they had already sprouted. So I thought, well, I'll just do a test over the winter and see if I could grow a tomato plant indoor. It is, right now we have snow on the ground, so this is not a climate where you would grow tomatoes in the winter time. So this is what they sprouted, and so they were teeny tiny little sprouts, and so then I put them in some seed starter in one pot, and just to see, well, we'll see what they do. And the little guys popped up, and they're stretching, they're really leggy, they're looking for light, and they had their first set of leaves, and so I thought, I'll just watch and see what happens. And then they got their second set of leaves, and that's when you can pot them up. So that's what we're going to do today, is pot them up, my accidental tomatoes, and put them under a grow light so they don't continue to be leggy, and see what happens over the winter. I typically, at the end of the summer, in the fall, I'm done with gardening. I don't do a fall garden. After all the harvesting and the processing, I'm over it. So I typically, like I said, I don't do anything in the winter, but since I had a light summer gardening and these little guys popped out, I thought, well, we'll just give them a chance and see what happens. So what we're gonna do is, I already prepared the seed mix. I already got it moist in a bowl and filled the little pots up, and they are really resilient. Tomato plants are really resilient as far as messing with them, messing with their roots and planting them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna plant them all the way as far down as we can, get this stalk as far down in the soil as we can. I like to leave a little bit of room on top so I can add soil later if needed. And then they will grow little roots, hairy roots, all down their stalk here. If you look at a tomato plant that's it's larger, it's more full grown, if you look at their stalk, you'll see little hairs all the way down their stalk. And those, if they touch the soil, they will grow roots. So we're gonna plant these down in this soil, and then we're gonna fish up my grow light, put it under a grow light and see what happens. And I will just record the progress over time, and then we'll put out a video and see what they did, success or fail. So let's get to that. I have to grab one thing. It's good to have a little poking rod when you're gonna try to get them in the soil. So we're gonna make a hole, pretty good size hole. I don't know how big these roots are gonna be when I fish them out of here, so we may have to make something a little bit bigger. So I have my little gardening tool, and we will see about getting one of them out, hopefully. Oh, see, look, they just pop right out. The soil, the seed starting soil is very light. We can even kick most of the soil off. And you can see its little root right there. So then let's make this hole pretty big and stuff him down in here. When I say you can be tough, see, you can just push him down in there as far as you can and put the soil up around it. I don't know why I call it a hem, but today they're hems. And look at that. So what once was tall is now planted and short. And I could put more soil in there, so I might mix some more soil up and put a little bit more in there. Then they'll even grow more roots. So let's do this guy. Pop him out. See, like I said, tomato plants are pretty resilient. You can mess with their roots quite a bit. There's some plants that you can't, like corn. They like to be direct sowed. They don't like to have anything messed with. Okay, get him straight up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to add more soil to that. I'll finish these. I'll top it off later. I won't use the seed starting soil that's in this container because it doesn't have any really nutrients in it. It's peat moss and perlite, and it's just really to get your seeds going. It's not anything to do with feeding them. That's why after about a couple weeks after you start your seeds, and if you've used a seedling mix, which is good to do because it's light, it's airy, it gets good oxygen, good water drainage, and it's sterile. So you're going to have less of an issue with any kind of disease using that soil to at least get them started. And then I just bought a bagged soil, an Omri product, OMRI, which is organic. And there's the label I generally look for when I'm purchasing products for gardening, and that stands for Organic Materials Review Institute. Because I grow all organic vegetables and organic process, no synthetic herbicides or pesticides. Okay, so all of these are going to need a little bit more soil, but I'll do that a little bit later. And so I'll go fish out my grow light, and then we'll stick them under there and we'll follow along. And here's what he looks like in his new little home. Like I said, I'll put a little bit more soil in there, bring it more higher on the stalk, and then eventually have to pot them up again if they grow. All right, so here is the final result. I added some more wet soil to the top and watered them in a little bit, and now they're set to go under the grow lights. All right, here is the finished project. I went ahead and potted them up a little bit more with soil so that they're just barely sticking out of the soil, and got them under a grow light, a single spectrum. I do have others that are multiple spectrums, but they hang, and I'm not ready to get my little indoor grow or greenhouse out. So we're going to leave them like this and see how they do. And we'll just document the process over time and see what we come up with. So I appreciate you joining me today, and stay tuned to see what happens with these little guys. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye. So we're just going to test this video to see how the camera works and the sound is. I have to go turn that music off. see if I cut my head off. Let's do another test and see if it cuts off my head, because that doesn't make for a very good video. And then we'll do another test and see if fourth time is a charm. Is my head here? Is it gone? I'm not sure if I made a difference, but we're checking one more time.